Have you ever felt like someone controlled your emotions? Like they knew exactly what to say or do to push your buttons, making you react in a way that benefited them? Manipulation is everywhere, whether in personal relationships, the workplace, or even social interactions. But what if you could take back control? The secret lies in emotional mastery, the ability to regulate your emotions so that no one can use them against you. In this lesson, I will show you how manipulation works, how to identify it, and how to master your emotions so you never fall victim again. Manipulation happens when someone influences your emotions to serve their own interests. They may use guilt, fear, flattery, or even love as tools to control you. Imagine Sarah, a hard-working employee who always stays late to finish extra tasks. Her boss, knowing she hates disappointing people, always says, "You're the only one I can count on." Each time Sarah considers saying no, she feels guilty, so she keeps overworking. This is manipulation through guilt. Another common tactic is fear-based manipulation. David was in a relationship where his partner constantly threatened to leave whenever he didn't do what she wanted. "If you really loved me, you'd do this for me," she'd say. David, fearing rejection, complied, even when he knew it wasn't right. Recognizing these patterns is the first step to emotional mastery. Now, let's talk about how to protect yourself. The 4 pillars of emotional mastery. To stop being manipulated, you must build a strong emotional foundation based on 1. Self-awareness, understanding your emotions so others can't use them against you. 2. Emotional regulation, staying calm and controlled in any situation. 3. Boundaries, learning to say no without guilt. 4. Detachment, seeing situations objectively rather than emotionally. Self-awareness, know your triggers. The first step to emotional mastery is knowing what triggers you. Are you easily guilt-tripped? Do you fear rejection? Are you manipulated by flattery? The people pleaser. James always said yes to favors, fearing people wouldn't like him otherwise. One day, his friend asked him to lend money. He hesitated, but when his friend said, "I thought we were close," James caved in. Later, he realized he wasn't being kind. He was being afraid of rejection. To fix this, James started asking himself why he felt guilty. The moment he became aware of this fear, he was able to change his response. Emotional regulation. Control your reactions. Manipulators rely on your emotional reactions. If you stay calm, they lose power. Example, the argument trap. Lisa's sister would always provoke her, saying things like, "You're so selfish." Lisa would explode in anger, giving her sister exactly what she wanted, a reaction. But when Lisa learned to pause and respond calmly, the manipulation stopped working. The 3-second rule. Before reacting emotionally, take 3 deep breaths. This small pause keeps you in control. Boundaries. The power of saying no. People who can't say no are prime targets for manipulation. Setting clear boundaries protects your emotional energy. Example, the persistent friend. Mark had a friend who always borrowed money but never repaid it. One day, his friend asked again. Instead of feeling guilty, Mark simply said, "I'm not comfortable lending money right now." He didn't explain, argue, or apologize. He just stated his boundary. And guess what? His friend stopped asking. Boundaries aren't about being rude. They are about protecting yourself. Detachment. Stop taking things personally. The moment you stop reacting emotionally, manipulators lose control over you. Detach from their words and see them for what they are, manipulation tactics. Example, the insult strategy. Chris had a boss who always criticized him to lower his confidence. Instead of feeling hurt, Chris realized, this is just a power move. He started responding with, "That's an interesting perspective," instead of defending himself. His boss lost control because Chris no longer reacted emotionally. Practical strategies to build emotional mastery. Now that we understand emotional mastery, let's go over 5 practical strategies to make sure you never get manipulated again. 1. The power of silence. Silence makes manipulators uncomfortable. Instead of reacting immediately, pause and let them feel the weight of their words. Example: a salesperson pressures you into a purchase. Instead of saying yes or no, you remain silent for a few seconds. Watch how they scramble to fill the silence. 2. Reframe emotional triggers. Change how you see manipulation. Instead of thinking, "they're hurting me," think, "they're testing me." Treat it like a game and you'll stay in control. 3. Use neutral responses. When someone tries to provoke you, stay neutral. Say things like, "I see what you mean. That's interesting. I'll think about it." This makes them lose interest because they don't get an emotional reaction. 4. Develop inner confidence. Confident people are harder to manipulate. Practice daily affirmations like, "I control my emotions. I do not owe explanations. I set boundaries without guilt." 5. Walk away when needed. Sometimes the best response is to remove yourself from the situation. Manipulators thrive on engagement. If you disengage, they lose. Example: if someone keeps trying to guilt trip you, simply say, "I have to go now," and leave. You don't have to participate in their game. The path to true freedom. Mastering your emotions doesn't mean suppressing them. It means owning them. When you control your emotions, you control your life. Let's recap. Recognize manipulation tactics. Stay calm and regulate emotions. Set clear boundaries without guilt. Detach and see manipulation for what it is. Use silence, neutral responses, and confidence to disarm manipulators. By practicing these techniques daily, you will build true inner strength, one that no one can break. Final thought. The strongest person is not the one who controls others, but the one who controls themselves. Thank you for watching. If this helped you, make sure to like, leave a comment, subscribe, and share with someone who needs to hear this. Stay strong, stay wise, and take back control.